spitball a few things, and then he's going to have a list of most stressful jobs we're going to talk about.
Ooh, good. Is Mom on there?
Oh, fuck you. It has to be a real job.
No, we're gonna talk about that shit.
We're
going to talk about that.
We're gonna say anything that Bill Burr hasn't already said. All right. Let's just dive right into it, guys. Hello, welcome to Fake Philosophers. I'm Mitch from North Carolina. In with me today, all the way from California, we got Mike and Danny with me. How you guys doing?
Good, Mitch.
What?
Good.
Yeah.
Hello.
Good.
Hold on. You got
doing great here over on the Ptsd.
Your guys' internet is terrible out there.
Is it? Is yours really good?
I'm sure his is really good.
It might be. Mine's on the other end of the apartment, though. So the internet might be good, but the connection's bad.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which really leads me into what I want to talk about tonight is bandwidth and what channel you're actually on. A lot of people don't know this, but your Wi-Fi router may not be tied into the most efficient bandwidth channel. So next week we'll have Matt on to discuss that further. But anyway, Mike, you had something to talk about. What's going on?
So to our 7 faithful listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call them, I have an update. I have an update on a past story.
Real quick, can we name them? Let's see. There's me, Mike, Danny, Eddie on occasion, Mike's mom.
My mom every now and then. And then there's, I know 2 or 3 people who sometimes will text me comments about it.
Yeah.
And then I look at the views on YouTube and Spotify to see how many views.
I've been I'll have a page open and just have a weight sitting on F5 just to constantly refresh, just to get the view counts open.
Those views up.
There, but,
Smart. Mitch is over here living in 3025.
The past story.
What does unemployed Mitchell do? That's it.
There you go. That's what you do, is try to rack those views up, get that monetization.
trying to get us monetized.
Well, funny, before I get that funny, so the website that I buy my pepper seeds from, it's called Pepper Joe's. They send out emails and shit to people. What? No, this is relevant. And
is it? Oh yeah,
yes,
the website.
Listen,
I don't think it is.
I know what website I buy my peppers from.
If you listen, so they send emails out with promotions and bullshit, and they actually sent an email out this week that said we're going to start having affiliate partners to if you advertise on your platform, you'll get percentages. Wow. And I was like, should I try to sign up for that?
Yes.
Interesting.
Today's episode brought to you by pepperjoes.com.
Well, not today's.
Is it
I haven't signed up yet. Don't buy anything yet.
Brought to you by pepperjoes.com.
Is it pepperjoes.com? I'm trying to think of a better pepper website. What would you call it? I'll think
Pepper Jake's. Anyway, it just was a thought to me. I was like, I wonder if I could convince them to let us have a discount link to where we get a percentage from our 8 followers. Anyway, in a past story, we talked about the dilemma of...
Aren't they all?
Oh, fair.
Thank you.
Can't reflect on a future story. So I talked about a difficult decision where I got a different barber to cut my hair.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked her more. But then the embarrassment of having to come in and your old barber watches you. That has been settled.
Oh,
okay, yeah, revisited. Okay.
Which one of them died?
Both. No, I went in there the other day. I made an appointment online, and my first barber wasn't even on it. So I got the other one, and I went in, and I heard people talking, and I guess the other barber just outright quit 3 weeks earlier. So there's no.
Which one?
I know everyone was on pins and needles. The first one.
Okay.
That I didn't want to go to anymore. So I know everyone was on pins and needles, worried about me and that decision, but it's been made. Faith and the world took care of that, so I'm okay, guys.
Oh, I fuck you. I was wondering, was you going to the other chair the straw that broke that camel's back?
It could have been.
She's like, if I get one more cancellation and another goes to that bitch over there, I'm done. And then
maybe
comes Mike. Oh man.
I have a mental gif of Mike walking to the new barber's chair, looking at his old barber, going.
Pretty much.
For those listening, Danny mouth the words "I'm sorry." It's really funny.
And kind of, I'm not sure if irony is the word, but the new barber is now at the old barber's chair.
Oh, okay.
So
in a way, nothing changed.
That's serendipitous.
yeah, I'm sitting in the same chair at least.
Our word of the day: serendipitous. Danny, why don't you go ahead and define for our listeners what that means? I mean, I know, but just in case any listeners don't know what serendipitous means,
Do you?
I've used it, but I don't know if I can define it. But.
Serendipity is just a happy accident. Something that happens that is, beneficial to all parties involved.
I'm going to name my first kid Serendipity. But
No. No.
I've heard of weirder ones.
I'm going to name my daughter Chlamydia.
Ugh. Yeah.
That's a happy accident.
Yeah, so two things kind of spurred the discussion I brought to the table tonight, or this morning, whenever you choose to listen to it. It doesn't matter. The first one was I was watching this show, and it follows this hospitality crew kind of thing, and one of the people that's regularly on the show is the chef. They handles the kitchen and makes the food. In case you didn't know what a fucking chef is. Anyway, the chef had said, kind of like sidelined in one of the scenes, that he said the top 3 most stressful jobs in the world are emergency room operators were number 1, air traffic control was number 2, and chefs or kitchen workers was number 3 of the most stressful jobs in the world. And it reminded me of, Mike, you said you hadn't heard about it, but Danny, I wonder if you have. It was a couple months back, I heard on the radio, the CFO of Bed Bath & Beyond decided to just up and throw himself out the window of a New York City high-rise. I don't know if you heard about that. Obviously, job stress. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 10 being like SEAL Team 6, and 1 being a stay-at-home mom, where would you put your guys' self on the least to most stressful jobs in the world? That was a joke. That stay-at-home mom's not the least stressful job. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not a job, so that's fine. It's not a job. You're not getting paid to do it. It's not a job.
I don't know, man. Those tax refunds are pretty sweet. Maybe. I don't know. Is it a job?
I would say it depends on the day.
So, yeah, we'll save that for another discussion, because that's actually a fun discussion to have, because my mom was stay-at-home. Yeah, is it a job? Is it not a job? I don't know. Anyway, no, but stressful jobs. Back to that. Danny, what do you do, and how would you grade it on a stress level?
I am a teacher. I teach middle school and high school. And for the most part, it's got to be low. I'd say like maybe a 3 or a 4.
That's awesome.
Like the most stress I've had this week, because I had to prepare for parent-teacher conferences, and that's stressful just because I got to go through and print out progress reports, add comments to everyone. I have something like 20 students, so each one has to have a progress report and with its own comments and its own kind of deal. So yeah, this week has been like the stress. It's like the most stressful week of the year for me is when we do parent teacher.
I was gonna say if I had to guess what the most stressful part of your job was, it was the parents. Like kids are fine, classroom's fine. Even your bosses dealing with the government's probably fine, but it's the parents.
Yeah,
Yeesh.
It's always the parents. Yeah. For the most part, though, like my parents are fairly, decent, respectful, and I don't have a whole bunch of Karens showing up and, why is my son failing? Because your son doesn't do his work.
That's pretty cool. Do you think that's because you're private school, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that's part of it is because it's private and the majority of people there because they choose to be there?
Yeah. And, they I'm always constantly reminded that, they're paying a lot of money to be here. It's like, fine. Why don't you tell the kid that? Like, don't tell me that. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Tell the kid who's failing that.
So, Mike, you like. I want to get like the different perspectives because like I'm not sure what you like. You're just a manager now, aren't you, or what? What? Because you used to be a bartender, and I can imagine that
small
was
business
stressful.
owner. Small business owner.
Small business owner. I do a little bit of everything. Because I do bartend when I need to, but I mainly just manage now. Yeah. And as far as the stress level, it depends on any given day. It could be, I would say the lowest it gets is like a 4. But then there are some days where if it really is or not objectively, it feels like a 9 or 10. As you've heard me bitch before about hiring problems, which you had another hiring problem this week.
Oh,
and,
no, really?
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. So, no one. So, not to derail your topic,
Obviously, I was on a roll here.
but I want to float this to you guys, and I'm not saying this in any sort of loaded way. Honestly, if you're looking for a job and you read a position that says dishwasher, now, one of you, like kind of like, when you're growing up as a kid and there's that project where it's like, write how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to write it out, and the teacher, to prove her point, starts making it the way you say it, and it's very literal, and it makes everyone laugh. Think of it like that. You are a dishwasher. Mitch, tell me what you do as soon as you clock in.
I go into the kitchen. And
Go on.
I go to my workstation. I turn the dishwasher on. Make sure that it's operating. Gather the dirty dishes. Put the rack up on the counter next to the dishwasher. Because I've been a dishwasher, so that's why I'm like, but put the dirty dishes into the rack. When the dishwasher's ready, I raise the thing up. I push the rack into the dishwasher, close it, press the start button, wait for it to finish, lift the thing up, pull the rack out, and then put the dishes where they live.
Okay. Danny, your turn. In your perspective, your worldview, your experience, go.
Yes, and me, Danny. Yes, and that.
No. Danny, your experience, because everyone's different. From Danny, your experience, what do you see?
I too have been a dishwasher. I would, as soon as I clock in, I go to the back and I start fucking washing dishes.
And how are you washing dishes?
So I have a rinse sink, a soap sink, and another rinse sink, and I fill all those up with the proper chemicals, making sure I'm within OSHA standards for chemicals, using the litmus paper and everything to make sure the acidity is perfect. And then I start by scrubbing dishes, soap them, scrub them again, rinse them, throw them in the sanitizer. And I do that over and over as long as dishes keep coming. That's my job. That's what I keep doing.
Okay. So I'm glad we got two perspectives, because I was leaning more towards what Danny was saying, but Mitch, it's still good perspective. What fucking happened was I interviewed this guy, and granted, this isn't like a kid. This isn't like a 19-year-old or even a high schooler or anything. This is like a guy who's like, I think 40 or even older.
Oh, God.
So I interviewed him. Well, first I reached out to him on the Indeed website where we recruit, like back in like March or April. I forgot when. And we set an interview, and then he did message me to his credit and say, hey, I got another job. I'm not coming to the interview. And I was like, all right, cool. Thanks for letting me know. He messaged me early this week, pretty much saying, hey, like if you guys are still looking for a dishwasher or whatever, like I'm available now. And I was like, yeah, come in for an interview. I interview him. He's a little odd, and I don't, just for legal reasons, I don't want to go into why, because anyway, he's a little odd, but he showed up, and a couple other interviews didn't show up, and I was like, well, he'll have to do. So I hire him. He comes in day one. We fill out all of his paperwork, and I start showing him around, and our dishwasher who's going to train him was running a little late, so I was kind of going through the whole, what Danny was saying, the 3 sink concept. And he was kind of like, oh, you wash by hand? And I was like, yeah, we wash by hand. And I just didn't really think about it. Whatever, went through it with him. The dishwasher got there. I was like, all right, cool. Like, make sure like he's good to go. Blah, 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 blah. And I left for the night because I was there all day. About an hour and a half later, our dishwasher texts me, and he's like, yeah, he just quit.
What?
He said he quit because he had to hand wash. To where
okay.
he was for some reason under the impression that we had what you were talking about, Mitch, like a commercial industrial washing machine, dishwashing machine. But I remember during the interview, I asked him if like chemicals affect him, if he's okay, like getting like dipping in chemicals, blah 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 blah. And I was kind of like, there nowhere in the ad or even in our interview or anything did I ever say it wasn't hand wash. I don't know, it just bothered me, and I was like, you fucking serious? Like this just walked off the job because he had to hand wash?
Here's
That's
the
weird.
thing, and this is the thing. If you have a dishwasher machine, you don't need to hire a dishwasher. Literally anybody can come back and throw their shit in the dishwasher and fucking wash it.
I would say it depends on the volume. Because if you're like a high volume place, you might need somebody just strictly on even if you have a machine. But
Yeah,
still,
so
it was just bizarre to me.
The kitchen I worked at was the big, it was a retirement home kind of thing. So they had some like 100 people every meal or whatever. And the meal was always based on a time frame. So they had one guy just designated to collect the dishes, put them in the dishwasher, and get them ready for the next meal. And they also had what you were talking about, Danny, the guy who did the pots and the pans and all the bigger stuff too. So they had both. But
so yeah, I will say that's a thing too. Like you have you have the dishwasher machine for like plates, cups, forks, knives, all that stuff, and then you have somebody who's dedicated to pots and pans.
And I'd imagine like in the bigger restaurant industries, they have that a lot more regularly. Like probably bus and dishwasher, or maybe they have both. I don't know.
Yeah.
Eesh.
Yeah.
Huh. Anyway,
it was just bizarre to me, and
Yeah, that's fucking dumb. That's like, dude, just
Michael-
fucking do the job. Like, honestly, like, what did you think? What did you honestly think this entailed? They were just gonna have you put plates into a dishwasher and pay
that's all you were doing?
minimum wage to do that? Get the fuck out of here.
well, it's kind of like what Eddie was talking about, a few months back, where he's like, it still is. It's a really an employee's market. They can like, I kind of don't really want to do this, so I'm out. Kind of.
And that's fine. I'm all for that. But like, what did you expect? Like they're hiring you to wash dishes, so just fucking wash the dishes.
yeah, it just
that's my Republican side showing.
well,
Yeah.
to me, if that, it's kind of like, this is a weird example, if someone orders like top shelf alcohol or a really nice beer, and you give it to them, and then you tell them the price, and they're like, "Oh my god, I didn't realize it was going to be more than $5." If price is an issue, to you, you should ask.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You should always
If
ask.
it's an
Yeah.
issue. So to me, if that was an issue, he should have asked.
Yeah.
Are you a hand washing place, or do you have a machine? That should have been a question.
And that should have been, honestly, if once he learned that it was like hand washing, he should have been like, "Nah, I can't do this. I'm out." To your
I
face,
don't know.
instead of being, the proverbial bitch about it and leaving once you were gone.
Yeah.
'Cause you know,
I'd
Mike-
my day out.
When I look at you, I see an intimidating motherfucker. I see a scary motherfucker that can break my back.
At least someone does. But yeah,
I see
I
a
don't know,
guy.
I'm just-
I see a guy who should be on a list somewhere.
I probably am.
Probably are.
I downloaded
Do not-
the Anarchist cookbook when I was a kid, so I'm probably on a list somewhere.
Who hasn't?
Yep.
No, but I could see your picture behind a bar somewhere that says "Do not serve this man." But
Thanks, I guess.
if I
It's his
ever
own
own a bar,
It's his own bar.
if I ever own a bar, if I ever own a bar, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put your picture up behind the bar and says "Do not serve this man." So every time you tried to go, it would be.
And then every time I walk in, they don't serve me.
Yeah.
And then they serve me.
And then they serve you.
Well,
Nope.
anyway, I was
Yeah.
asking about stress because I decided
Yes.
if you guys are down, we could do a Mitch's lists of
Let's do it.
the top most stressful jobs. And
I like a
shocker,
Mitch list.
I have two lists up. Neither of them have kitchen worker anywhere.
Guys, before we jump into Mitch's list, can I just do a quick in memoriam for
sure.
Angela Lansbury, who passed away early this morning, and
Yep.
to also Robbie Coltrane, who also passed away today.
Yeah, that's right.
Raise a cup, raise a can. Raise a
Old
glass.
age, she wrote.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Now let's jump into Mitch's list.
What is it? Who was the? Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. The Mrs. What? Not Miss Marples. Miss Potts. Was it the Miss Potts?
She played Miss
I
Potts.
think it was Angela Lansbury. Yeah.
It was Angela Lansbury. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was also in Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Mm-hmm.
And Murder, She Wrote, and Gaslight, and I'm sure a bunch of other shit before my time.
See, I only know her from Murder, She Wrote, but well, I knew she played a lot of stuff, but my wife comes home, she's like, Miss Potts died. I was like, I thought that was the Murder, She Wrote lady. She's like, it is. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, I had a headline of the week before we go into that too.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to make sure we're clear. We don't need to get into a political conversation about it. Just the headline itself was funny to me.
Okay.
Headline was, Trump was betrayed by his Diet Coke valet.
What? What?
Is that just some guy that brings you a Diet Coke whenever you ask for one?
Well, no. So it was kind of a joke, but I guess it was a real thing that Trump had a button on his desk that when he pressed it, this guy would bring him a Diet Coke from the cafeteria or whatever.
Okay, so yeah, yeah.
So. So when I read that, knowing that, I kind of laughed, and I was like, "Did he bring him a Pepsi? Like, what was the deal?" And I guess
would Diet Pepsi be okay?
And Trump just flipped out. No, I guess he was the guy who ratted out Trump that caused the when they went in with the warrant to take all that shit.
Oh.
I guess he was the guy.
I fucking knew it. See, when they said that there was some inside guy that was like a whistleblower kind of thing, I was like, either this is bullshit, or it was some ancillary who gives a shit person that decided to just flip out. And it's the Diet Coke guy.
So I read the article, and like I said, all the politics aside, I guess he worked in the kitchen in the White House, and then he got moved up, whatever, and he was kind of like, I don't want to say the butler, but he was kind of like Trump's like assistant, where like he's like, hand me my coat. Blah, 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 blah. Get me my Coke. And I guess when he left office, he went with them down to Mar-a-Lago and got a job down there. And I guess like when all this started happening with the documents and stuff, he was kind of like, I know some shady shit's going on, but like I like Trump and I don't want to fuck with him. And then like when it got real, I guess he was like, all right, I have to say something. And then told the FBI like, no, like he told us to move shit and there's still shit here.
I fucking love it. I'm just
the Diet Coke guy.
I'm just picturing like the militant anti-Trumpers picturing like the what was his name at the Nixon tapes? The Deep Throat, meeting in the parking lot. It's like,
Deep Coke.
Yeah, we got this.
Deep Coke.
We got this Deep Coke. We got this guy. And it turns out to be the Coke guy, and they're like, shit, fuck.
Well, that's another thing. It's like if you're Trump in the White House, you're like, listen, Melania. He's the best Coke delivery guy I've ever had. I'm bringing him home with us. It's going to be great. It's going to be fabulous.
Do you think Trump Jr. was like, Dad, I don't trust him?
Something about this guy.
Well, you got to do the Dad. Dad, I don't trust him. I don't trust anybody.
That would actually be a really funny like joke video if like Junior's like, Dad, if he really cared about you, he wouldn't give you that many sodas every day. That's bad for you. He's not on your side.
I'm bringing him home with us.
No, but that's what, like, because I know, like, Mitch, like you said, everyone's talking about how there's, like, this rat or this informant. And, like, everyone speculated if it was, like, Pompeo or Meadows or any of these, like, guys. And it's the fucking Diet Coke guy.
It's the Diet Coke guy. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. And it's
like
just like...
Didn't Reagan or someone almost, like, choke on a jelly bean? And that was like going to be how he died.
It was Bush. It was Bush. He choked on a pretzel.
All right, fine. Yeah, it was
Reagan had the jelly. Yeah.
Yeah. Reagan actually got shot. So
I freaking love this because like I don't know, like when the whole Mar-a-Lago thing happened, I was like, I don't know, this all seems stupid. It seems way just like a farce. It seems disorganized and chaotic. And the fact that it was the Coke guy that set it all off just is perfect for me. That makes me laugh so much. I love it. I'm gonna go home I'm gonna go to bed smiling tonight.
The catalyst.
It's really great. Anyway,
right. The story.
So I got a list here.
Yeah, let's go.
I got a list here of the.
Somebody threw the wrong Mentos at that guy, and he just blew up.
No, Pepsi's not okay. I'll tell this motherfucker. Oh man. What would be like that meeting? Like, because there had to be a meeting between the informant and an agent, a special agent or something, and the agent's like, okay, look, eventually you're gonna have to tell me what you do in his cabinet, and he's like, all right, well, first of all, let's define cabinet.
I deliver the cokes from the cabinet to the desk.
Can you imagine being that agent having to report that to his supervisor? Like, okay, I think my informant's real. Okay, what does he do?
Is it an aide? Is it an assistant? Kind of.
Kind of.
Kind of.
I mean, at least if he's the butler or the food handler, does he serve him food?
Look at it this way, sir. Trump would not survive without this guy.
He's here today because of this guy.
Yes.
This guy. Oh man.
Anyway.
Anyway, hey, Mitch's lists. I got a list of the top most stressful jobs. What is this? This is according to Career Addict. Does it have a date? This is June of 2022. So pretty relevant.
So it's relevant.
I've got the top 30 most stressful. I was gonna just skip through the first 20 and like sound them off, and then we can start talking about it. The first 10. Number 30, taxi driver. Number 29, surgeon.
I thought that'd be higher.
Yeah, right. Number 28, lawyer. I would figure a lot of it goes into how much they're paid versus how much they actually work.
Actually do. Yeah. A surgeon doesn't work that often, and the work they're doing, I wouldn't describe it necessarily as stressful. I mean, you are, yes, dealing life and death in a lot of cases, but a lot of times you're just taking out an appendix. And like
most of the time it's routine, it's
and you probably get paid a lot too. When you get paid a lot, stress
hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
Average salary. This one has all the average salary too. Average salary $297,000.
Fuck off.
So it's that weighed with, and I'm not disparaging them at all. Like they should get paid as much, and they should probably get paid more or whatever. But if they work like an hour or two every week or whatever. So that adds into the stress factor of it. But
depending, there's some surgeries that take a long time, but like you said,
there are surgeries that sometimes take 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours.
Okay.
More.
Now that goes into surgery. How long in that amount of time is the surgeon actually hands-on, hands in the body kind of thing? Because a lot of it is knocking them out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'm not a wordy today.
No, but you're right, though, because even lawyer, the next one, lawyer seems pretty stressful, but those guys get paid a lot. And when you're doing a job that's stressful, it becomes a little less stressful if you have more money. So
I would imagine a surgeon when he's in school is way more stressful, or when he's doing his residency. I would imagine a lawyer when he's a paralegal or a junior associate or something like that is way more stressful.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's only stressful because the market is so competitive.
Oh, maybe,
if you fuck up as a paralegal, there goes your legal career.
I agree. Yeah,
like
once you're a surgeon,
I would make the argument that being a matador is more stressful than being a lawyer.
How so?
Because you're literally putting your life on the line anytime you step into the pit.
Okay, yeah, that might be fair. It's kind of entertainment, though, really, but I don't know. Maybe
like to dumb it down a little, being an NFL quarterback is more stressful than being a lawyer.
That can't be stressful at all. I'd be surprised. Anyway, but okay. Anyway, moving on. Number 27 is a bartender. Number 26, a paramedic.
Okay.
Okay. 25, IT. Yeah, me too. 25 is an IT manager. 24, social worker. Yeah.
Social worker. Yeah.
23, mental health counselor.
Okay.
That'd be hard not to take it home with you and like think about. If you're a counselor, I've thought about this. If you're a psychiatrist or a counselor, taking that home and like thinking about what you should have said or could have said or something instead. But yeah.
Well, I mean, there's schooling and training that allows you to detach and compartmentalize.
Also, with the fact that the mental health counselor average salary is $53,000, which is not a lot.
It's not a lot.
So
I feel like the IT guy should be lower. I'm sorry, higher, less stress.
Yeah, maybe, but their average salary for IT manager, this is a manager, not regular IT, $162,000 average salary.
Yeah, that needs to be, I guess, higher or not as much stress. That shouldn't even be on the list. I feel like that's shouldn't be.
Lower. We'll call that lower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lower stress level, yeah. Number 22, telephone operator. I believe that. Number 21, teacher. Number 20,
telephone operator? No, because if anyone gets pissed off, you just hang up.
Yeah.
Average salary $39,000. Sitting at a desk and talking to people all day sounds like, sounds like the easiest job in the world. However, when you're dealing with an angry customers and have a ridiculous number of targets to hit to earn a paycheck at the end of the month, you'll soon be feeling the strain. While some people thrive in a competitive office, it can make others crumble.
What job is that?
I don't know.
This is telephone operator. So yeah, if you're doing cold calls and your job depends on making sales over the phone.
So no, if you're a phone salesman, different.
Yeah, that's different than an operator. An operator is somebody who works for the phone company who answers bullshit calls. Like, hey, what time is it? Is your refrigerator running? Well, then you better catch it.
Yeah, I did that for a while. I didn't make any money.
Anyway, go on.
21 is a teacher. Average salary $65,000. Danny, you don't have to divulge any info, but that's the average. Take that with you. Do what you want.
I don't make that much because I do work at a private school, and we're hourly. I make close to it though. I'm close to that.
Number 20, sports referee.
Oh no, that needs to go way higher on the list. Way
I
higher.
think
Stress?
that
Way more stress, you think?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that should be 15 to 20. I think that's 15 to 20.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Well, keep these in mind and see if someone should be replaced or higher up.
Really?
Number 19 is
You're
a truck driver. Whoop, broken up.
No.
Say that again, Danny.
Say it again.
So-
Say it again.
So I was gonna say, like, an umpire needs to be like top 10. Imagine, or a referee needs to be top 10. Because if you blow a call in the finals, you're getting fucking death threats, dude.
I agree,
Yeah.
but we're talking averages here. We're
Put
talking.
it to you this way. I'm gonna say a name. You tell me if you know it. Angel Hernandez.
No.
No.
You guys don't know Angel Hernandez?
No.
I'd imagine he's a baseball player of some kind.
No, he's a baseball umpire, and he's the worst umpire in the MLB consistently.
Okay.
But the dude gets fucking death threats.
I've gotten death threats as a bartender. Should that be higher then?
Yes,
From
you work in a high
from
stress.
bikers.
Yeah,
From bikers.
No, I think.
So,
I think
here's the question.
A
Do you
bartender
think-
needs to be top 10 as well.
Do you think a sports referee? Because I'm saying I agree with you, Danny, that they have their instances where they are the most stressful jobs. But I'm talking about the average here, the average salary. You know, because a minor league ref technically falls into this category as well. We're talking about a minor league Quakes third base referee versus some UFC fight ref or something like that. You know, it averages out. That's pretty up there, I'd say.
I think it should be on the list. I would say I would put it 15 maybe, depending on what else is on the list. If the next thing is
What else
like
is on the list?
the next thing's like crossing guard, I'll be like, okay, fuck off. It needs to be higher.
No, the next one is truck driver. Average salary $50,000. That depends on the person because some people are just chill on the road and they're fine.
Yeah.
But other people, we're talking deadlines, traffic. You've all driven in California; it's terrible.
Yeah.
But imagine driving a truck through California.
That's one of those ones, kind of like you said with the umpire. And I know we're supposed to skip through these real fast, but kind of like the umpire, it depends on what kind of driver you are.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Because there's some where, like, if you're doing cross country and you don't necessarily, you have like a time frame, but you don't have like an actual limit, like you're chill.
Easy.
You're good.
Easy.
Meanwhile, you do have like in my industry, you do have like truck drivers who deliver, and they're responsible not just for driving, but like taking the beer off the truck, getting it, making sure they get like, all 15 deliveries in this 8-hour day.
Yeah.
That could be a little stressful. I can see that.
Yeah. You imagine leaving Port of LA. You're a Cisco driver leaving the Port of LA, and you've got 10 stops to make at restaurants in various LA County spots. Fuck that. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I think that depends. So I at first I was kind of like, but because of the different kinds of truck drivers, I would say okay.
Yeah. I would thought it'd be
We're
cool,
also
be
we're
cool
also
to be
dealing with different kinds of stress. Like we're talking physical stress and mental stress.
right versus the stress of time versus how much you're making. That's all a big part of it too. Yeah. Number 18, aircraft maintenance engineer. Yep.
Jesus, fine.
I would honestly think like an air traffic controller would be more stressful.
Well,
That's
let's see
actually
if
in the
it's
top 10, spoiler. But
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
17, train driver. Yeah, because I'd imagine that'd be stressful because you'd be like, holy shit, how much longer a train's going to be around? I don't know if I'm going to have a job next month. Definitely.
I'm like, the thing's on tracks. You're fine. Just go.
Sucks for them. Oh, you mean the train is on track? I thought you meant if there are things on the tracks while you're
No.
trying to go down and
No, the
you'll still be
train's on
fine.
tracks. You're fine.
Forward, backward, yeah, done.
Yeah, forward, stop. That's all you got to worry about.
We know what we're talking about. It's not that hard. Number 16 is a chef. Okay, so it is on the list.
Okay.
Number 15 is a construction worker. That must be why they're all alcoholics.
I would
think that's
say
just a demographic
construction.
thing.
Yeah, at baseline construction worker, I think it would be mainly physical stress, not mental stress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
physical labor.
You start getting into those
construction-
high-rise construction workers, like the guys who
Oh,
built the
yeah.
Empire State Building or the Golden Gate Bridge. Now you're talking about some mental stress.
Sure. I'll
Yeah.
agree. I think
Number
it's well placed.
14. Number 14, retail and hospitality sales staff. Retail and hospitality sales staff. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can picture just like, unfortunately, this is what I picture. When I see retail and hospitality sales, I think people in their early 20s who haven't had a lot of time in the workforce, and this is their kind of introduction. This is a lot of people's first jobs or second jobs, and they're still trying to figure themselves out while they're making quotas, while they're working. Extremely stressful. Not like not compared to a lawyer, of course, but you got to appreciate these are these kids' first jobs, and they're super stressed. So.
And I would say it would depend too, because if it's like a clothing store, like or a retail store that you make commission, I would say that could be pretty stressful. But I remember, I think it was in high school or just out of high school, a buddy of mine worked at like Hollister, clothing store, and he said that I'm not, because I don't think they made commission there, but he said that like being in the room, that if somebody was like rude to him, he would just say, "Okay, sorry," and just walk away. And the manager was like okay with that. So I mean, that wouldn't be too stressful. But if you're someone who needs to like work for commission, where you need to make the sale, if they're a prick or not, that could be pretty stressful.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Plowing forward.
Also, I think any job where you have to deal with people, whether you're service industry, retail, we've talked about this before. It's that thing everyone before they go to college should work a year either in retail or in the restaurant industry or in the military. Do one of those three things and then go to college.
I'd be on board for it.
We'll vote for it. That'll be great. Number 13, financial analyst. Yeah, okay. Number 12, marriage and family therapist.
I believe
Average
that.
salary, $60K.
A therapist?
Yeah.
Marriage
I
and
think
marriage
so.
and family.
I don't think so.
It doesn't seem that hard.
No, it's not about difficulty. It's about your ability to deal with your job. And I feel as though if you're a marriage counselor, there needs to be a cushion of detachment. You know what I mean? Like, and compartmentalization.
Of course,
Any
100%
counselor
agree. But, and my answer to that is people don't go into that job, and in my experience, the majority of people don't go into that job because they're easily detached. I think people go into that job because they have an affinity for people, and it's hard for them to detach. You go into the jobs like that because, I mean, did you go into your job because you just don't really care about kids, or do you like kids and you want to help kids, so it'd be kind of hard to detach?
No, I fucking hate kids.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, no. I think what I was going to say.
Well,
too,
you're the exception then. Okay.
Well, no. I was going to say too. If you're a therapist, I agree with Mitch. It's like you want to help people, so you're naturally inclined to caring. And I remember I was talking to somebody about this other day. When you care about something, you tend to be more stressed because you actually care. So obviously you get into a line of work where like part of your job is kind of requiring to care. And not to mention some of these counselors, like I'm not going to go into specifics, but I knew of a kid. So when I knew I had a kid who saw a counselor, and it was revealed that like the kid's father was super abusive. So now, you could detach, but now this counselor knows this poor kid in front of them is being abused, and they have to do something about it. That's responsibility. And that's a very heavy emotional responsibility, detachment or not.
Sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily in that position. It's not a. It's more. Of
It is a
duty.
responsibility. It's a legal duty.
Responsibility. You're absolutely
Yeah.
you like, but it's also a duty because most counselors are mandated reporters, just like all teachers are mandated reporters. So if we find out that somebody's being abused or somebody's hurting themselves, we have an obligation in our field to report it. And
Well,
I've had to do that.
Yeah, sure. And to piggyback off my example, and keep it as anonymous as possible, so that counselor did report what they discovered by, therapying the kid. I almost said that. Doing the therapy with the kid. And what ended up happening was the father pulled the kid from therapy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now imagine you're this counselor who reported this possible abuse 1 week, and the next week the kid's not there anymore, and you're informed the father pulled him out. I don't care how detached you are, that'll fuck with you.
Definitely.
Honestly, I don't. And this just might be me who always views things from like 5 feet away. It wouldn't bother me because like I would see that coming. It's like, obviously this father's not going to like the decision I made to report him beating his kid. So yeah, I expect him to pull the kid out of therapy. Like that wouldn't fuck with me. I would understand. I would get it. I wouldn't like it because like.
But that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't like it. That's what I'm saying. That you wouldn't like it.
It wouldn't fuck with me though. It wouldn't fuck with my head or anything like that. It's like I get it.
Well, when I say fuck with you, I don't mean like you go crazy. I just mean like there's a moment where you're like, oh shit, like there could be something serious going on.
So I said it kind of flippantly, but I do mean it sincerely, is that I think, Danny, you might be an exception. Not like the exception, but an exception. Someone who, unfortunately, it's an exception. The fact that you're able to compartmentalize job and personal life very easily. And but I think a majority, and I might be wrong, but it seems to me that a majority of people that choose paths like teachers or doctors or marriage therapists, counselors and stuff like that is because they love people and they want to help. What I've heard about doctors when they're in their residency is one of the biggest things they had to learn is how to detach from people and just be an objective, where you see it in the stupid shows like House
Grey's Anatomy and shit.
Yeah, Scrubs and stuff. It's like what they're always constantly learning is how to detach. And so if I look at it from that way, is if the majority of people become therapists because they want to help people, then they really have to learn how to detach. I can see how that'd be really stressful because you're trying to unlearn what the whole point you got into the field.
Yeah. All right.
I'll take that as a compliment.
You're welcome. Number 11, personal assistant. Yeah, I agree.
I believe that.
Yep.
Okay,
so now we're in the top. Poor Diet Coke guy.
Poor Diet Coke guy.
Top 10 most stressful jobs according to this Career Addict, June 2022. Number 10, air traffic controller. Average salary is $127,920. Air traffic controllers monitor the movement of air. We know what they do. They also control movement on the ground in airports and runways. While the job may sound simple, no. Air traffic controllers must be alert at all times and need to be ready to advise a pilot if and when a problem arises. Yeah.
No.
So
that's like if you've never seen the movie Pushing 10, I highly recommend watching Pushing 10.
See, I saw Breaking Bad.
I'll just say Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's
yeah, or that. It is super stressful. It's like herding cats that can fly.
You know what's weird? I was at a store earlier today, and the lady behind the cashier told me she referred to a customer that was ahead of me because the customer ahead of me had like 2 or 3 kids that he was managing and like leaving with. She said it's like they're herding cats, and I'd never heard that expression before. And here it is, hearing it the second time today. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm living in a simulation.
So no disagreement on that one. What's number 9?
Number 9, phlebotomist.
Somebody who draws blood?
Collect blood samples from patients for tests, transfusions, or donations. While the role may be straightforward, the pressure of collecting samples, sending them for analysis, and dealing with difficult clients makes it a stressful one. Phlebotomists need to ensure they label each sample correctly to not confuse their patient's diagnosis. Okay. That might be a...
No.
I don't know. That might be a new COVID world kind of thing. I don't know.
I would accept that in the 20 to 30 range, but not top 10.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you guys guess is the average salary for a phlebotomist?
60,
I would say this. I'd say 60 to 80 range. 60 to 80 range.
60 to 75.
Average salary, $38,000 a year.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll
So
I'll adjust I'll
That's
adjust
like-
my comment to 10 to 20. It should be between like 11 to 20.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if
Less
that'd
than
be-
minimum wage.
That's
I
damn
can
near
see-
minimum wage.
This might be and forgive my ignorance here, but this might be a thing like I was talking about with the retail sales. It's like this might be a thing where people who are getting into the medical field, this is one of their first jobs ever. This is
Yeah.
like the intern level job. Maybe that's why it's so stressful. It's because they're newbies, but I don't know.
I just
Number 8.
I get my blood drawn several times a year, and I've never seen one of those motherfuckers stressing.
No. It's like the easiest thing to do. It's
I think I would agree.
how
if it's
hard is
like,
it to get blood from somebody? You poke them with a
would-
sharp thing, you take the blood, job done.
I would say
You
if it
know,
was
I
like
was-
the first 6 months into their job where they're kind of like, oh, am I gonna fuck this up? But once you're like, I literally have never seen one of these people stressed out. They're just like, fucking, here's your fucking swab, bam, like.
Here's another factor that might add into it, and this is a new COVID world kind of thing. When my wife and I got life insurance, we had to get blood tests just to make sure we didn't have AIDS or some shit. This was during early 21 or late 20, I don't remember. But none of the facilities were open. So they actually had to send a phlebotomist to our apartment, come into our apartment, set up and take our blood there. Now, you add in house calls to a phlebotomist, and I could see that being pretty stressful.
Okay, the house call thing I would agree with because you don't know what you're walking into.
And I
Yeah.
will say the infectious disease aspect of it, AIDS, HIV, STDs, whatever, what have you.
Would you say
But-
that aids into the stress factor?
I'm gonna ignore that.
Yep. Pause for laugh break,
Number 8.
and we're back.
Anyway,
No.
that one I would, even with all that considered, with the payment, I would say it should be 11 to 20, but I still don't think it should be top 10.
Not top 10.
Okay.
No.
Number
Okay. Agreed. Number 8. Event coordinator. Average salary, $57,000. Having the responsibility of arranging someone's big day or large event coordinator, blah, 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 blah. We get the gist. Yeah, I would agree that's got to be up there. I mean, you got to think of weddings, especially with rich people and getting everything right. Yeah. I can see that being up there.
I'll go in on that. That
I'll-
deserves top 10.
I want to see the remaining 7 before.
I would say top 20, maybe not top 10.
Definitely
There are
top
some in the
20. Definitely top 20. I'm curious about what the rest of the top 10 is.
I'm going back. I would say a chef is probably more stressful than an event coordinator. Their day to day, at least. Anyway, what was that? 7? No, that was number 8. Event coordinator. Number 7, PR executive. Oh shit! Yeah, 100% agree with that.
100%.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yep.
And I will
yeah.
say it depends on the client, but yes, absolutely.
No, fuck the client. It doesn't matter if all the client has to do is one bad comment, not even publicly anymore. They just have to say something privately, and they're
I feel
fucked.
really
God.
bad for Herschel Walker's PR person because Jesus fucking Christ,
That's what the joke
that
was.
guy's a minefield.
Yeah. But years ago, that was the joke where, like, when Justin Bieber was doing his stupid shit, I think one of the late night comics were like, is this, like, he literally just gets up and goes, how can I make my PR guy's life a living hell today? That's when he was, like, egging houses and doing all that shit.
Yeah, it's why you never heard about Kanye's PR exec, because he just doesn't have one.
Doesn't exist. Does not exist.
But you gotta remember too, like, that's not just like a PR person for celebrities or individuals. Like, there are PR people for companies. So now if someone a Burger King employee throws a blender at a woman, a PR person has to take care of that.
Yeah.
So one point I'm going to make before I get into the final 6 is what we decide is a stressful job, or what is considered a stressful job, the difference between that and a high skilled job. We saw surgeon as the top, like 27, 28 or something like that, which is one of those like what kind of jobs. But you look at it from the surgeon's perspective. I know what I have to do. Here's my piece of paper that says the procedure I need to do. I just go into the room, do it, and leave. and then I'm done, and I get paid oodles of money for that.
Yeah.
Versus the job that isn't necessarily high skilled, but the critical thinking or the variables that come into play, the human factor, all that is insane. Number 6, most stressful job, 911 dispatcher.
Oh yeah. Especially if you can't disconnect. Like if you can't compartmentalize and put distance between you and the person calling in.
Yeah.
That's going to be stressful as fuck.
And even go on, Mitch.
On the scale of the most neurotic, emotional people, the very lowest, most emotional people in the world are the ones that are calling 911. That is the is the perfect example of just emotion begging for help, desperation you get, and the people that have to deal with that. Oh my God.
So that's okay, great. So that's what I was going to say. So even with what Danny said, if you can't compartmentalize and detach, of course, but even if you can compartmentalize and attach, just trying to do your job and getting the information from someone who's having a fucking panic attack. Yeah. Where are you? Where are you located? Who's trying to harm you? Blah, 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 blah. Trying to get that from someone who might be freaking the fuck out would be highly stressful. Even if you don't give a shit what happens to this person, your job is to get the information. And if you can't get the information, you're going to get worked up.
Although I will say, with today's technology, dispatchers now have access to log in where that call is coming from. So they can put it in a general area.
But still, I learned that the hard way. I accidentally called 911 on my cell phone and a cop showed up in my house.
Yeah. Almost every job has those if-then formulas. You know, if this happens, then do this. And I'm sure that the dispatchers have that. If they're crying, try this. If they're not breathing, do this. But I'd imagine that 911 dispatcher, the 911 dispatcher, the 911 dispatcher has a lot more than the average person formulas they have to deal with. But
absolutely.
Average salary $47,000.
They don't make a lot.
Number 5, airline pilot. A pilot is being number 5.
No. Especially because planes nowadays can land themselves.
Yeah, until the fucking, what was the Supermax plane that was fucking that up? What was it? That plane that happened like right before COVID. It was the plane that was just diving into the ground and killing people. It happened like 3 times, so it became a worldwide problem.
I forgot what you're talking. I know what it is. I just forgot the details.
It was a Boeing. Boeing. No, that was the Boeing like Supermax or whatever. That was like Supermax. I don't know.
So
no. Anyway.
So if you average it out, so that job to me, a lot of times like when I hire bouncers, if they're not that experienced, I say to them, being a bouncer is the most boring job in the world until it isn't.
Yeah.
And then it's one of the most stressful. And with the airline pilot, I feel like it's kind of the same because it is a high skill job. And for the most part, if you have your skill, your craft down pat, you're good. But as a pilot, I can only imagine in the back of their fucking head, it's like, what if it happens to me? What if flight happens to me? So you're bringing up a good point, I'm just realizing another aspect of what makes it a stressful job is you're describing a job that's good for, you could just clock in and clock out and you'll be done. With an airline pilot, because the last point they make on here, besides the daily struggle of an airline pilot, last minute changes in schedules can also increase stress levels, knowing that your passengers will be increasingly frustrated. I'd imagine a pilot is when they're gone all the time, and they're here and they're there, and the schedules change all the time. So it's not so much when they're flying, but just also all the life around them, having to coordinate a personal life around a pilot's schedule. I can imagine could be pretty stressful. Anyway, number 4, no surprise here, firefighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Number 3, top 5.
Yeah. Number 3, healthcare worker. That's kind of a broad term. Yeah. We saw during the COVID-19 blah, 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 blah. Okay, number 2. Number 2 is police officer.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Number one most stressful job: enlisted military personnel.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Or are you being joking? Okay.
No, I'm not joking at all.
The only people that
literally-
I know. The only people that I know that were enlisted military were non-wartime military, and they were they go out on what do you call it? Deployment. Yeah, they go out on deployment and they do their rounds, and then they come back, and then that's it. And they mostly just complain about the weather. So,
Okay, so
I don't know what.
You only know rear echelon pogue type guys.
Yeah, not tip of the spear kind of guys. So,
Yeah.
but we're talking average here. I don't think the average military personnel or enlisted military personnel, I'm sorry, are not at the tip of the spear. They're the broad handle of the spear behind it.
That would be interesting to talk about, because I want to know exactly like what percentage of the military is the tip of the spear, and what percentage is pogue, because if they're like frontline, going into Kandahar for the first time type of guys, that's stressful as fuck, dude. Like,
oh, of course. No, I'm saying, like, what was the first example I used for the highest stress was SEAL Team 6. Of course, like, if you're in battle, it doesn't get more stressful than that. You're literally fighting for your life. But
so I think to Mitch's point, there are a lot of guys. Obviously we're not going to say names, but I knew a guy in high school who, this is going to sound fucked up, and I mean no disrespect to our military.
Was it John?
No, John.
Okay. I'm not going to say his last name.
Yeah. No.
His initials are J.A.
No, he wasn't even in the military.
Okay.
If it's who I'm thinking of. But no, this guy I know, he tried to he tried multiple things out of high school and failed at all of them. So he enlisted, and I believe the Marines. And then he went through basic, and obviously, especially as a Marine, basic is stressful. It's supposed to be. But then, so I bumped into his brother. I bumped into someone who knew him, and I asked how he was doing. And he was driving a bus on some base. And so he had a flag up, like all the cities had the flags up of their boys and girls. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I get it. He's in the military. He's serving the country, and I respect that. But is he a hero? You know what I'm saying?
Be interesting. I'll ask.
I'll say this. Did you join the military?
Almost.
Almost for
but
me
then
too.
again, I didn't become a surgeon. I didn't become a surgeon either. I didn't become a 911 dispatcher either.
And I want to say, I respect his choice to serve. But what was the Bill Burr bit that military boards the plane before him, and he's like, "Did you see combat?" I respect it, but I understand Mitch's point, and that it is kind of like I said with the pilots and the bouncers. Once you get past basic, a lot of these guys really don't do much. The ones that do,
what they're getting paid shit.
What are they getting paid?
Average salary for enlisted military personnel. Now, it says $31,000 for enlisted military.
Literally just above the poverty line.
Yeah.
Now, but their room and board is paid, their food is paid, and they're living on base, and they're getting paid. So they come out of the military with no expenses. And I mean, I'm sounding like an ignorant asshole here, but I'm saying it is 100% a stressful job.
Yeah,
I believe, but on average, I don't know if it is the most stressful job. Sorry. I think
what this list needs to do, and of course, this is all subjective unless they have some sort of fucking metric, but it should be stress that's guaranteed day to day.
Yeah.
Like I said, the bouncer example is 9 days out of 10, it's a boring job. You're just walking around looking at people, whatever. But that 10th day is super stressful when a fight breaks out.
So what bums me out about this list is that there's branches. There's some of the jobs they categorize and others they don't. The fact that we had 911 dispatcher and police officer as separate jobs in the different levels of stress, even though they're both law enforcement, they're different levels of stress. A police officer deals with that on the field every day. Military, just the broad scope enlisted military, I think is unfair. The same way they said number 3 was healthcare worker.
I was going to bring that up.
Is that
broad?
Yeah. Is that nurse? Is that, I mean, I'm learning about, because one of our best friends, one of my wife's best friends, her husband is just became a nurse practitioner. So and I'm learning about the varying degrees of nurses. Just the fact that nurses have like different levels of involvement and stress level. So, you know, if we really broke down this list, if we wanted to categorize things, this list would really just be made up of healthcare, law enforcement, and military, and all the various jobs that comprise of that.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And it really, like we said though, like each one of these jobs, it's kind of hard to put them on the same list.
That's true.
Because the stresses are different. I wouldn't say one's worse than the other, but like, and this is, I'll just be honest, like I'm not comparing myself to a fucking soldier on the front lines, but like I have PTSD from bartending. Like, and I'm not making that shit up. If I'm out somewhere and I hear a bar stool scratch across the ground, like I get fucking startled. Yeah, like I go into that mode. And I'm not, it sounds silly. It's not like, you know, like as soldiers hear an explosion and they freak out. I'm not like that, but like there is like
but
a PTSD
you hear a glass
to
break
it.
and you go, the fuck?
No, yeah,
No,
you can ask my lady. Like if I'm at a restaurant and a glass breaks, I freak the fuck out for a second.
That's the fallacy of comparing what the real point of all this is the amount of stress put on the person.
Yeah.
You know, the post-traumatic stress, you know, syndrome that comes out of it. But what are some other examples here that we can, like, let's go ahead and compare some of these jobs. Because I don't know if a phlebotomist is seeing the same kind of stress that a train driver sees.
No.
The phlebotomist one, that was kind of a
phlebotomist. That was so out of left field. Oh my god.
But I kind of is like a food industry person, like server, bartender, was that in there somewhere, or at least in a category?
Chef was number.
Well, I mean, like an actual front of house server.
Bartender was, I want to say, like 25 or 26.
Yeah, 27 was bartender.
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't
chef.
there. Okay.
Chef was number 16. Yeah. So. Yeah,
I will say this though: a chef doesn't have to deal with the public directly.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I'm surprised that a waiter isn't on here.
Yeah, I would make the argument that a waiter has a more stressful career than a chef.
I disagree with that. I would disagree with that. But I would say it should be on the list. But I would. Yeah.
A chef's education is super stressful, and I get that. But their job. I would argue is less stressful than that of a waiter's.
No, see, because the waiter has the disconnect. I didn't make the food, and I'm sorry it's not right, but I didn't make the food. You know, there you go.
Yeah, because if you're
all the chef's gonna say is, "I made it the way the waiter said to make it."
Oh, maybe, but I disagree. But I'm open to maybe.
Kind of like what Mitch said, though. It depends on the chef, because I've dealing in the industry. We've had cooks and chefs who like don't give a fuck. When I say don't give a fuck, it's not that they like. They get mad like, oh, they think it's cooked wrong? Fuck you. It's like they don't give a shit about the job. But if you have like a head chef who's in charge of that kitchen and something goes wrong, this is why I've graded so fast. I'm not a chef, but like when you're in a position where shit goes wrong, everyone looks to you. That is 100% super stressful. So as a head chef, you're in that position.
I've neither been to nor worked at a restaurant where the food was that high quality that the chef could lose his job if the customer is not pleased. And those restaurants do exist where it's like, no, we were promised top grade food here. This did not deliver. Sorry, that's your third strike. You're fired kind of thing. So
that
I can see how it could be.
That happened recently to one of my guys.
Oh, really?
Not at our place. He had 2 jobs, but he got, I'm not going to say where his other job was, but he got let go because without being too specific, a high roller ordered a burger, and apparently it was a little overcooked. And since this guy's a high roller, he got pissed, and dude lost his job. So
now, right or wrong, that shit happens. So I can see how that would be stressful. So
yeah.
But number 30, taxi driver. I think that should have been higher up.
I think.
No.
I think it should. It depends on the city.
Not even.
We're saying taxi driver, not an Uber.
No. A taxi driver, listen, anytime I've ever been in a taxi, and I have been in multiple taxis, they are the one in control. You can tell them the route, but everything they do is up to them.
This could be just the fact that I just watched rewatched Collateral a couple nights ago, so that's why I'm like, nope, yep, get it, I get it.
How often does that happen?
Hey, one time's too many. But
well, I will say though, I think taxi should be higher on the list because it's one of those jobs where you don't know who's getting in your car.
Here's another issue I had with it. What was it, 11 or something? I'm not going to look, but it was 911 operator. But number 26 was paramedic. Now, I'm not disparaging a 911 operator as being very stressful, but I can't believe that a 911 operator would be more stressed than a paramedic.
What was the surgeon?
Surgeon was
20s.
29 out of 30. 29 out of 30.
Yeah, because I think the paramedic deserves to be ahead of the surgeon.
It is 26.
And I would agree with you. The paramedic should probably be ahead of the 911 operator.
That's my opinion. But
I agree with that.
You know,
Absolutely.
And the fact that they didn't label EMS or ambulance driver or something like that, but just paramedic, broad stroke paramedic. That should be way higher up. But anyway, yeah, it's an interesting list. Don't know if I agree, but
well, I will say, because Danny kind of said something with the cab driver versus an Uber driver. I think the Uber driver would be more stressful.
Yes, I agree with that.
I would disagree.
Why?
Oh, really? Why?
Because an Uber driver can cancel a ride at any time.
Yeah,
true. But once the cab's in the car, once the fare's in the car, it's I guess the factor of being what's the word I'm looking for? Free agent, radical, kind of the wild card kind of thing is a lot more likely in an Uber than a cab, I think.
I would say nowadays, yes, maybe. But I think
because real quick, my experience, I've Ubered a lot. I've only taken a handful of cabs. When you're in a cab, there is kind of like a disconnect to where it's like they have the fucking wall between you two. You just kind of say like, this is where I'm going. They pop it in and you just go. Whereas an Uber driver, it's your car. First of all.
You know what? I changed my opinion. I agree. A taxi driver would be more stressful.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Granted, I'll concede that with the Uber driver, the Lyft driver is like, if there's a passenger that's unruly, they can report it, and there's like a rating system to where this person might be able to get kicked off the platform, and I concede that. But I have seen more. What's the time of era we're in? More videos from Uber and Lyft drivers and their riders than I have seen from cab drivers.
This is true. And I will say a lot of it is because as a taxi driver, your fare is anonymous. You don't know who they are. You don't even know their first name.
That's fair.
Right. So
as an
also,
Uber driver, you know their first name. You know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Because they have to put in their home address or something, right?
Mm-hmm, that's fair.
Where they're going. Yeah.
I'll also say this is comparing generations. I know if that sounds dramatic or not, but taxis really are kind of on their way out. And what taxis were, in order to get your taxi license, your license to drive a taxi or whatever, used to be, from what I've heard, was that the process to get your license to be a taxi driver was pretty insane. Like, you'd have to know maps by heart. You'd have to know the driving rules, which none of us really know. But from what I heard, to become a taxi driver was quite an accomplishment. To get your license as a taxi driver was quite an accomplishment. So, and now Uber, you just download an app. So when you're a taxi driver, I can see how the stress would be, oh my God, if I lose my job, that was years of training gone. Versus Uber, it's like, oh, uninstall, whatever.
I can see that. I can see that point. I'm not sure if I agree yet, but I can see that point.
Okay. We're opening the door, planting the seed.
Anyway. From what I've seen, there's been more, and granted, like you said, it's generational. There's more phones now, and Uber's around more now. But I haven't really heard too many crazy stories out of cabs where Uber drivers and Lyfts, you hear these fucking
there was a whole
stories.
Show on HBO about cabs.
There's this whole show
exactly what I'm talking about too.
I do.
There's this whole show on this website. I'll forward you guys later. It's
Danny, I wouldn't call that stressful though.
But I mean, like just like the amount of crazy people that jump into the cabs, though. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
Okay.
if you're a taxi driver, right, and you're picking up a couple, and they just start fucking going to town in the back of your car.
I'm slowing down.
Like, you're slowing down, but like, how do you respond to that? It's like you're constantly looking in the rear view, as like that guy in the cab was.
I'm running the meter till they get out.
Because we've all seen that episode of Taxi Cab Confessions when that couple got into that car and that dude just went to town on his girl in the car.
That's fine. I'm running the meter till they get out.
So here's another issue I had with the list.
Well, hold on. I'll concede this. Being a cab driver in New York is probably more stressful than Ubering in Rancho Cucamonga.
Definitely. I would argue that being
that.
a cab driver in Vegas is more stressful than being a cab driver in New York.
Ooh.
I might
Now I've never been to New York, but I'll agree. Here's another beef I had with the list. Number 10 was air traffic controller, and number 5 was airline pilot.
Swap those.
Now I don't know, like, I wouldn't straight up swap, but they should be a lot closer together. Now, again, I was talking about the clock in, clock out aspect. An airline traffic controller can clock out and be done. A pilot, his schedule is so, like, he doesn't have that much flexibility with his schedule that a traffic controller might have. I don't know. I feel like the airline pilot would be less stressful than the traffic controller.
I actually don't know, because I don't know if an airline pilot, will fly from Los Angeles to New York and then fly directly back, or if he'll like, hey, I'm in New York, I'm gonna take a day off. I don't know how that works. If they're like, okay, no, I fly to New York, then I fly immediately back, or if once I get to New York, I get a couple hours off or a day off. I don't know how that works. But I would say if it like you go from LA to New York to Phoenix, Phoenix to Seattle, Seattle back to LA, and your day's done.
Yeah.
That would be really fucking stressful.
Yeah, right. So, and then there is the training aspect of it too. I'd imagine being a pilot, and I'm going to oversimplify it, of course, but I imagine a pilot would be like training, stress, training, stress, training, stress, training, and then you become a pilot, and then it's easier. Not easy, but easier. Whereas air traffic control, it's like, I'm going to get the job and then stress for,
Tell
those
that to
hours
the pilots on September 11th, 2001, Mitch.
I would if they were around.
Oh, they are around. Haven't you listened to the conspiracy theory? No, I'm just kidding.
I think I'm going back and forth in my head because I think I already kind of said it. I think one of the stressful things about being a pilot, though, is they could coast through it a lot, but there is the stress of knowing what could happen if they didn't do their job right. But then I thought, okay, well, what about an air traffic controller?
Oh,
because if they don't do their job right, Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm kind of weighing like the emotional stress behind it.
Sure. Yeah.
Because all the therapist shit, yeah, you have to detach yourself. You have to have that training. But like, I don't think pilots have that detachment. I think they know that they fuck up, there's 100 people behind them that are all gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I might have to just send you guys the list and have you prioritize them. Like, see what our list was. That'd be kind of fun.
Well, I think it'd be interesting too, that list, like dissecting the jobs based on like stakes. Like obviously your firefighters, your cops, your soldiers, the stakes are so much higher than a bartender or a teacher.
Right. But I mean, I guess my biggest problems would be lumping all of the military into one thing. It's why I'm like, I don't know. It seems shortchanged to just. I mean, I'm not saying it's not the most stressful job in the world, but lumping the whole military into the most stressful job in the world, I think is unfair.
Like active duty soldier versus National Guard
versus a recruiting officer, and it's like or an ROTC soldier is still enlisted. My grandma made hand grenades in a factory during World War II, still enlisted. So she was an enlisted military. So it's like that. I mean, that wasn't a stress. I mean, I guess
if you're making hand grenades,
but it might be a little stressful. Well, that's what even we used to give my dad shit because he got drafted during the Vietnam era. He went through basic, and then he literally spent his time in West Germany, chilling.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
What he would say is he helped his country guard against the communist aggression in Germany. That's what he would say. And we would give him shit like, so you just hung out in Germany for a few years. Got it.
You weren't in East Germany. You don't know.
Yeah, but he even said, he's like, yeah, what he would admit, like, it wasn't stressful. Like, you could look across the line and see, like, the Germans on the other side of the border, and they were doing the same shit, just hanging out.
That's awesome.
And so, no, my dad admitted it. Like, he was like, yeah, it wasn't hard. But yeah, so, like, that.
It is unfair because I have military friends that some were saw combat, and it fucked them up. And, you know, like, I don't even, like, that's the most stressful thing in the world versus, you know, some of my closest friends that were not in combat, but they're like, yeah, you know, it's kind of stressful, but it was a job. It was, they drove the bus. They waved in the plane on the aircraft carrier. Those guys. Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway,
that's a stressful job.
Could be.
Yeah, but then you hear stories about down in San Diego, 5-6 years ago, when they were on training and the whole boat went down, and like a dozen Navy guys died on just a training thing in San Diego. So
well, I would make the argument, Mike, that the guys on the aircraft carrier are active military and air traffic controllers at the same time.
Oh shit!
It's true.
Yeah,
I would say any let's be mature. Any seaman who serves on a boat or a submarine automatically gets to that number one list because just living in those fucking quarters. Have you guys ever toured one of those boats or the submarines?
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're not an officer and you have to. What do they call them? They call them warm bunks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To our audience members who don't know what a warm bunk is, it's that you work in shifts and you share your bed with like three people, I think.
Is it just me? But when I hear. Is it just me? But when I hear terms like semen, I think of cum.
Just you, Mitch.
Because you said semen, and I was like, yeah, all right.
Did you forget? Did you forget that he prefaced it with "Let's be mature"?
Well, that's why I'm asking. I
should have said sailor.
Yep.
There you go. See, is that so hard?
No, dude. If I already have blood pressure issues,
there's a difference between a sailor and a seaman.
What?
I don't know what the difference is, but I know there is.
Oh, I thought you were like lining up a joke.
No, there's a difference between a sailor and a seaman.
Yeah, true. I was gonna say though, if I had with my blood pressure issues, if I had to share a fucking bunk with two other dudes, I'd have a fucking stroke 2 weeks in, if not quicker.
See, that factors into the average stress
and that's
level
why
of the
Mike
job.
will never be able to join the military.
That's why. That's actually exactly why I did not join the Navy.
That's
I didn't join any other branch just in case.
Not because you're in your mid-30s. It's because blood pressure. That's why.
Yes.
We're fine.
And when I was 18,
right now,
I just knew I was going to have blood pressure.
If I was a perfectly healthy 35-year-old, the Navy would be like, no, we don't want you.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
No, we're good.
No, please.
Thank you.
Do you have a college education? You're an officer now.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
how that would work.
I would love to do that, actually. If they would let me enlist. I mean, Eddie enlisted when he was like 32, 33.
I was going to say, Eddie did.
If you have a college education, like a college degree, and you, first of all, you wouldn't be an enlisted man. They would put you immediately into OCS, and you would join whatever branch as an officer.
I would love to do that just so I could say, I do have a degree in theater. Make me an officer.
Oh, man.
They probably would, dude.
They probably would.
I'll have to ask.
So if they do that, that means they don't have to pay for your college now.
It's true.
So they would probably make you an officer.
I kind of want to have my friend Ryan on because he graduated with a BA and then went into the military. I wonder how all that went. But
Ryan,
now he's going back to school.
Ryan D?
Yeah.
He went in the military? I didn't know that.
Are you fucking with
branch?
me?
No, I just didn't know he actually went in. I didn't know that.
Are you serious? You didn't know he wasn't in? Oh, he just finished his tour like a year or two ago. Yeah, he was in the Navy. He was in a sub.
I had no idea.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Submarine. Mm-hmm.
Name dropping. Yeah, he's gonna kill me, but he doesn't care.
no one heard his name. That's why I said the letter.
Yeah, no, he's in the Navy. Good guy.
So he was on a submarine. Did he have a wet bed?
I have no idea. All I
Not
know
wet.
is
Jesus Christ. Warm.
Warm. Jesus, Mike.
Jesus Christ! I think I was just
First
thinking
all,
of
if you're in a
sweating.
submarine and you have a wet bed, you got problems.
It is a problem. Yeah,
I
no,
think-
he loves he loves talking about, like, the number one question he always gets is, were there windows in the submarine?
I think I was just thinking about sweating in the bed, which is why I said wet bunk.
Warm sweat.
But warm.
Yeah, okay.
Warm bunk.
I get it. No, I get it.
Ask
Wet
him.
bed.
We should have him on and ask him if he had a warm bunk.
I will ask him. He doesn't live near here, though. He lives out in California. So we'll see if we can get him wired
So maybe
in.
we should talk to him, Mike.
Let's go ahead and ring him up right now.
Yeah, we'll ring him up.
Have him sit in for me. That, like, no context, nothing. Just like, hey, can you sit in for me? What do I need to do? Nothing. Just I'm not telling you. Just go. And yeah.
Might be weird. We're gonna call you Mitch.
Mitch from North Carolina.
So
All right.
Ryan, how is it in North Carolina? Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thanks for listening. Those of you that are still listening, as we are 1 hour 20 minutes into, it's pretty good. All right, most stressful jobs. I'm gonna go to bed, and you guys on the West Coast enjoy 3 more hours of nighttime.
Yes,
Yep.
we'll do.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.